Got you.
Perfect. All right.
Hang out for a little bit. Let's let a few people get in here,
Yes, sir.
and we'll get going. We are, for those wondering, we are going to go in the order of topic that we have it in our title of this space. Sochan starting, question mark, team and rookie expectations for the season. Gotten quite a few people in here, so I think we'll get it moving. Evan, I believe we both saw within the last few days, Popovich. I don't remember if it was Coach Popovich or if it was someone else, but basically they revealed that Jeremy Sochan is expected to start. What are your thoughts, good sir?
Well, I'm excited. You know, it is the start of the season. You would think every team would follow suit and give their top 10 pick, at a definite position of need, a chance to prove himself. And there was a chance that Pop may have not wanted to, give him that opportunity. Isaiah Roby was a candidate. We saw Doug McDermott start the season last year. Keldon Johnson played a lot of the four, but we obviously had to expand the floor, get some shooting. Sochan doesn't really provide that, but good gracious, this guy is going to defend like his whole entire career is on the line. I want you to imagine somebody who is still a teenager, somebody who has the confidence of the front office, of the team, of the coaching staff to say, hey, go guard like the best forwards and wings. Have fun. Let's see what you got. And we're going to be impressed. He's going to miss some reads. He's obviously going to miss some open corner threes. I don't know if the people have noticed, but that's pretty much what he's set up to shoot. And it hasn't been too efficient, but I'm excited, man. I honestly thought he wouldn't get this opportunity. Everyone knows I'm a Sochan just fanatic. He was one of my top guys throughout the draft process. And the day's finally here, man. I'm super excited.
Oh, good, sir. You mentioned there was a chance Jeremy Sochan would not start. Do you think some of that is, one, he's a top 10 pick and we got to let him go out and get his feet wet? And is some of it also, we're going to do that, but also this sort of helps us lose games and gets us closer to the Wembanyama sweepstakes?
Oh, most definitely. You want to see how well he can adjust to the NBA speed right away. We didn't see him in the summer league. We didn't see too many matchups where he was guarding, obviously, like the opposing team's best player. I went to the preseason opener. I was hoping we would get a lot of Banchero and Sochan matchups. That just wasn't the case. But hey, you can run from these forwards now. Granted, PJ Washington isn't like the scariest opposing forward. Kelly Oubre, whoever's going to be guarding tonight, Kai Jones, these type of guys. But realistically, this is the NBA. You signed up for it. Let's see what you got. I don't have any real predictions for him because I'm going to sound like I'm super high on him when he's expected to do absolutely really nothing besides defend, And if he can get maybe 10 rebounds, 4 assists, knock down 1 3, I'll be satisfied. That sounds abysmal for the number 9 overall pick, but hey, that's the situation we're in. People were really on him, on his case. People were saying this guy cares about more of his hair and his appearance, more about his game. He hasn't worked on his game, this and that. You don't know anything. Left from right. So we'll see how it goes. I am super excited, like I said. So yeah.
And again, with Sochan, don't expect a whole lot of threes made this year. That's something, part of his game we have all come to expect needs some work. That was the thought going into the draft. That is still the thought after the draft. That's something he will be working on. And speaking of kind of those expectations, what do we have? What are the expectations for the team? I think Vegas has the Spurs with, was it 24.5 or 23.5 wins, bottom 3 record basically. Is that and it's great because Devin Vassell went on his Instagram story, I think it was yesterday, and was basically saying, y'all need to stop coming at me with the Victor Wembanyama stuff. We're playing to win games this year, which is fantastic mentality. Love to see that. Do we think that's going to translate to more than the 23.5 wins?
No, I will be shocked if they reach honestly over 20 wins. That may sound like a crazy number to some, but the Spurs have Keldon. Hey, okay, maybe you can average 18, right? Cool. Hey, let's see what Devin has. Maybe 17, 18. Cool. Maybe not as efficient because he's going to be the leading wing threat for most of the season. That people have to shut him down. Okay, Jakob Proto pick and roll with Trey Jones. Okay, that's 60, 70 points. Where are the rest of these points coming from to where we can win games? Okay, and we have to defend. Okay, guys, we have okay defender starting unit, but that second unit is going to get torched. It is going to get torched. And honestly, I had to dial back a bit. I like Isaiah Roby as that backup four because hey, you can have a little 2-man action with Zach Collins. There's not enough pressure. There's not a lot of pressure. Not to say enough. There's not a lot of pressure for Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott to provide some spacing. And when it comes down to it, that's really what this whole team is kind of set in stone for. You have to space the floor. You have to make sure everyone can get going when they're supposed to. And there's a lot of rookies on the intertwining these lineups. There's a lot of vets, and you have to just keep it balanced. That's easier said than done. Obviously, the greatest coach of all time can probably handle that, but with hopefully, no egos on this team, Ben. Right? Hopefully, no more egos. 1, 2. Hopefully, everyone is okay with their role. I don't think that nobody on this team will be frustrated with the minutes that they will be given, they will be blessed with. 24, 25 from Sochan, maybe 10 and 5 from Malachi and Blake, and then they have to earn the rest. That's how it's supposed to go, to be honest. So we'll see. What did you think?
Here's the bigger question for you. I think Trey Jones is expected to start tonight. Is he the starter at the end of the season? Or is it Josh Primo?
It has to be Trey Jones as a starting point guard. Listen, everybody's just too unfair when it comes to Trey Jones, and they don't think that he deserves the starting role. If Primo is the starting point guard and Trey Jones is backing up Primo, it is a total just mess in terms of a balance of of setting people up for the right shots, in terms of intertwining lineups for veterans and for second-year rookie players. Josh Primo needs to be playing with these 19, 20-year-olds. Trey Jones needs to be setting up these 19, 20-year-olds. You can't be mixing that up. So I don't want Josh Primo to start. I like him as more of a hybrid guard. Guys, a hybrid guard is your leading scorer of a team. A hybrid guard is the Jaden Ivey build. It's the Dwayne Wade build. It's the Spider build. It's the Anthony Simons, Tyler Hero build. You can be a shooting guard. You can be a point guard in emergency. We just got to help you bring the ball up. Give me a high pick and roll, and honestly, just score. You don't have it. When I say just score, it's not just the first available shot. It's not just James Harden cross screen, step back. It's not that. It's literally being able to set up an efficient bucket, and that's Josh Primo. I don't want him to be a point guard where he has to set up a guy, look for a guy. That's not his game. That's strictly not his game. He doesn't have no solid retreat dribble. He gets a little frail. And in the NBA, you don't want to hurt someone's confidence, especially in the second year where he's literally getting the quote-unquote Kawhi treatment. Why would you want to mess up, not I want to say his mental, but why would you want to mess up literally like how he's in his head going over plays, what he's used to in practice. If he's a 2, keep him as a 2, emergency 3, and maybe a little bit of 1. I don't want to see a lot of it, though.
So that brings up a question. If Josh Primo is really not going to be your point guard or even your backup point guard, who is backing up Trey Jones? And if there's not really a true backup there, how many minutes is he playing a game?
Yeah, I really need 28, 29 minutes from Trey Jones. That's literally just 15 split between Primo and Wesley. I wouldn't be surprised if Wesley starts the year in the G League, but I really would like him to get a little bit of run, like 8 minutes a game. That's literally 2 minutes a quarter. That's not bad, and we're playing to lose. We're playing to compete, but we're also not competing. We're going to be playing with aggression, playing with 100% effort, but with Blake Wesley, matched up with, backup veteran point guards, whether if it's anyone from a Monte Morris to, I don't know, like a Josh Giddey, he's going to get cooked. He's not going to be the same college dominant hybrid guard like how he was. He was a combo guard in college, and now he has a huge role to be a point guard in the NBA. That's a lot to ask. So I'm not too high on assuring that he's going to have a stamp in this rotation where he's going to have 10 minutes a night. I'm talking about Blake Wesley and even Malachi. Malachi has to be above Richardson, has to be above Doug McDermott in terms of rotation. There's no way. I want to make this very clear. There's no way, at least to start the season, keyword to start the season, there's no way Malachi Branham is going to get in the game before Josh Richardson, and Josh Richardson is still in his jumpsuit. There's no way that's going to happen with Doug McDermott. So injuries, quote unquote, quotations around that, maybe, yeah. 15 games in, we'll see. We saw last year how they did Thaddeus Young. They just raised his they raised his trade value by playing him in small minutes against guys like Jokic, against guys like Giannis to start the season, against guys like AD when the Lakers came to town. But then as soon as those games were over, hey, he was on the bench preserving his energy, not his energy, preserving his health so he doesn't get injured. And that's what we're going to do with Josh and hopefully the rest of these veterans on this team for first round picks, hopefully. But I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe one of these trades, these 4 or 5 team mega trades I was saying over the summer, if that happens, whether if it's the Pacers, they're trying to get in on, or trying to get out of the Buddy Hield, trying to get out of the Turner days. So when it comes down to it, anyone on this team that's not a teenager or about to get or possibly get paid, Trey Jones in the offseason, I saw some talk with him, Trey talks with him. I think they're safe. Everyone else could be gone.
And so that brings us to the rookie expectations. You talked about it a little bit. We talked about Jeremy Sochan, obviously. What do we hope to see from Malachi Branham? What do you hope to see from Blake Wesley? And a little more about what you hope to see from Jeremy Sochan as far as his development over the course of this year. Because Jeremy Sochan is, I think it's obvious to all of us here, if it's not already, that Sochan is going to be the guy who's getting the most of any rookie minutes this year.
Yeah. But hey, let's talk about Branham. I would not be surprised if Branham starts inching his minutes up every single game. When it comes to Branham, what I hope for him to do, and what I kind of honestly expect him to do, is to be the most efficient rookie on this team. He honestly may be the most efficient teenager. He might have a more efficient year than Josh Primo. Josh Primo is going to have 20, 21 plus minutes, right? You think he's gonna be anywhere near what we want him to be year 3, year 4? No, he's going to go through the restraints of having the perimeter defenders really locking on the PJ Tuckers, the Robert Covington. He's going to be locked up. Malachi, I want Malachi to get some buckets on some rookies, on some second year players. I don't want him to get a lot of get used to trash time minutes where he's okay. I'm not getting the third quarter, but hey, we're getting blown out. I'll get in the fourth quarter. I'll play against the OKC team, right? I don't want that to be his expectations. I honestly believe that he can be the most efficient rookie on this team and possibly the most efficient teenager. When I say that, his 3-level scoring ability in college, let me not say high school, because high school is different. In college, it was immaculate. So we've seen the comparisons like the Michael Redd and the Chris Middletons, all that kind of stuff. You give Malachi Branham a Jakob Poeltl screen, keyword a Jakob Poeltl screen, not a Zach Collins screen, not an Isaiah Roby screen, but a big, solid Steven Adams type of screen. He's going to possibly get an open opportunity, and he's going to knock down that mid-range shot. Okay, that's one. Pull up from 3, NBA 3 is not all the way there yet. But maybe by the end of the season, it will start falling down. It'll start coming down. Getting to the rim, we haven't seen a lot of it. There's not really a quick first step. He has a lot of hesitation moves, and he utilizes his arm. When KD drives, he uses his elbow and his arm to create separation. That's Malachi Branham. Separation, sidestep, swish. 10 feet away, 12 feet away, 15 feet away. I want to see that every single game. Every single game. Blake Wesley, he's the most athletic, explosive. He's the most explosive player on this team. Not athletic. I can't say that. I can't get him that riff off quite yet. He's the most explosive. Slow down, big fella. Slow down. There's no rush. He can squeeze past people, do the LeBron, throw the dribble in between the two guys, squiggle his way through. He can do that. He's nimble. He can sonic wheel his way around guys, but he'll dribble into two people. He'll dribble into the lane without being able to kick out to a guy, or he'll have a swing pass that he can get away with college or in high school. That's probably a turnover in the NBA. Hey, Blake, hey, you're the 25th overall pick. That's the range where guys can either be in the league in a few years or out of the league in a few years. You got to show me something, man. His defense, electric. When I say electric, it's 100% effort. That's Blake. Sochan, you already know that's already a wrap. We know with him. Malachi, I've seen a lot of deer in the headlight moments with him. I really should do a breakdown on basically when you're a rookie and you're not used to, obviously you haven't played against other teams. You're just coming off a training camp. You have no idea, obviously no first thought of what the opposition is going to do. A backdoor screen, you're going to get screened. Any type of motion play that will try and lose you. Once you get lost and you literally have a second of like, okay, I need to find my man. There's a split second where you can either get pulled upon from mid range. Someone can either come around all the way around, like the Trae Young Curry treatment, and you could be completely lost in an assignment, and that can get you pulled in Coach Pop's system. I cannot see that with our rookies. I cannot see that with Brandon especially. Brandon is a volume shooter. He needs to get going, and when it comes down to it, man, I really want him, like I said, to get as many minutes as Sochan by the end of the season. Josh, Doug, a lot of these veterans, possibly Zach, possibly even Isaiah Roby, guys that can prove, hey, Celtics, hey, injury-prone teams, hey, Miami, hey, Milwaukee, you need some front court help, you need some back court help. Give us a first-round pick. It doesn't matter what year, just give it to us, and we got you. The Spurs can be the savior for so many teams this year. It's going to be a high calling price. But did you have any thoughts about that? I know I kind of went on a long tangent with that. Sorry about that, bit. But do you have any thoughts about the rookies?
Yes, I have one thought. Be better. No, I think you hit it on the head here. Jeremy Sochan going to be a great defender. You hope to see the shot progress throughout the year. I don't know if they're going to have him posting up anybody who's smaller. I'd be curious to see if that's an option, just to see what he's got around the rim. For Wesley and Brandon, both guards, Wesley probably has to prove he's more of a point guard, like you said. He's at Notre Dame. He was used to doing everything for that team. They were not a good team. And when you're not a good team in college basketball, it's a lot worse than being not a good team in the NBA. In the NBA, you still have guys who can go out and get their own shot and do all these other things. College, if your teammates are bad, you are doing a lot of stuff by yourself. So I think part of it is Blake Wesley has to break some bad habits, which usually happens in the Spurs system. And Malachi Branham at times played beyond his years at Ohio State, and a lot of it stemmed from he knew he was second fiddle to EJ Liddell there, so he wasn't going to try and take too many shots away from Liddell. I think he has to kind of bring a similar mentality in that I have to pick and choose my spots, but I can't be taking shots away from Keldon. I can't be taking shots away from Vassell or Primo. I can take shots away from Trae Jones because he's not really a shooter. That's fine. He has to. I think for him, it's going to be figuring out where his spots are and taking advantage of them. Usually against it may start out as in garbage time, but. He's the 20th and 25th picks in last season's NBA draft are going to have a bit of maybe a rocky season, only because they're going to be going back and forth to Austin and San Antonio a lot, I feel, especially near the end of the year. But we can get into this another time, but you mentioned if teams are looking for to injury-prone teams looking for someone to help them out in the front court, those forward players like an Isaiah Roby, other guys who might be playing kind of above their cut here. everybody should be looking at the Spurs as a team that is going to facilitate. They have a ton of cap space. They can take in bad contracts, and in return, we'll take on your bad contract, but you have to give us picks. You have to give us assets. You have to give us something else. So, be it, as February looms closer, be on the lookout for that, I would say. As far as more team expectations, is there something you're looking to see from Jakob Pertl? Is there something specific you want to see from Doug McDermott? Any kind of your role players. What are your expectations for them? What are you hoping to see? Have they already disappointed you before the first game has even started?
I'm really hard to disappoint when it comes down to watching Spurs basketball, especially current Spurs basketball. I'm really realistic when it comes down to what I expect from our current players. And Jakob Pertl, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. This is going to sound like a shock. This is going to sound like a shock to people. May get unfollowed by some. I want Jakob Pertl to showcase why, in most people's eyes, keyword most people's eyes, he's the best current San Antonio Spur. He's more valuable and a more valued asset and a more, I don't want to say overall better player than Keldon or Devin. But hey, this guy gets forgotten about and doesn't get talked about a lot in these top 15 center talks. People want to talk about Jonas Valanciunas. People want to talk about, Jaren Jackson Jr. People want to talk about Miles Turner. Jakob Pertl deserves some credit, man. Jakob Pertl is in that tier. I don't have the tweet in front of me. I don't have the stat in front of me either. But it was the all LeBron stat. Pretty much 3/4 the way through the season, Jakob Pertl was a top 20 player in terms of efficiency in the league. Top 20. DeJounte was floating with him around 18, 19. Once they traded Derek, DeJounte's usage kind of went up, but his efficiency went down. But then Jakob Pertl just kept staying in that 17, 18 range. Hey, that is no pun intended, but that is the centerpiece, the glue of this team. And hey, he's a feared rim protector. Yes, he will get dunked on because he's not scared. Yes, he will miss free throws because he can't shoot free throws. But everything else, hey, I saw a mid-range, a little push shot for him. Squish. Nice. I was like, yes. Show me some more. Do you want to be a Laker? Do you want to be a Buck? Where do you want to be traded to? Does he want to be a Spur? Show us something and just go out with pride. With Doug and some of the rest of these veterans, hey, shoot and just clap and just be quiet. If you want to do an HEB commercial, go ahead. If you want to go out and do community work, go ahead. But we all know you're really just kind of, I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but you really know this isn't really the most enjoyable ride. So, just shoot a three and zip it.
The other thing with Pertl, when you're talking about top 15 centers and things like that, the best ability is availability, and some of those guys you mentioned are often injured.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're talking about Anthony Davis hasn't played a full season in how long? I mean, he hasn't even played. I mean, what arbitrary number do you want to throw out there?
And he's scared to play center.
Well, right. He refuses to play center. There was even a quote before this season about, Coach and I had that talk. I told him I don't want to play center. It's like, who cares? What does it matter what you're labeled as long as you're still playing your game? What does that even matter? But that's Eggshell Davis for you.
Eggshell Davis.
Because you got to walk on him around him because he's so fragile. But I mean, even Miles Turner hasn't. I don't think he's had one or two seasons where he hasn't played full seasons. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. has been injured at times. Jakob Pertl is pretty consistent, I would say.
Vucevic. Wait, hold on. Vucevic. Let's talk Porzingis. Let's talk Wendell Carter. He was out, but that was an understandable injury. Mitchell Robinson. Is Jakob Pertl the only kind of indefensible? Is he kind of in? He's been injured here and there, but I'm thinking every other center in the league, they've missed at least a quarter of their season, at least one season at a time, at least once. And I don't think Jakob Pertl has missed that. I might be wrong, but hey,
that would be worth looking up.
For sure, definitely.
But while Evan and I are here, we'd love to hear from you guys. If you have any questions, some comments even, just want to say how excited you are about the season. We're here for it. Request to speak. We're happy to bring you up. We're just out here riffing, having a good time. So we just want to keep the good times rolling before the season gets sad, right?
Yes, before the season gets, you're going to say this 2 hours before tip off? Wow, okay.
Well, I'm sorry. Was that too soon? Did I have to wait an hour
it's a little
before
too
tip-off?
soon. We haven't even, okay, we could win today. There's no LaMelo Ball. We could possibly win today. We didn't even talk about the game.
1-0. We're on pace to go 82-0, folks.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious. Ian, we brought you up first. How's it going?
Hey,
Nice seeing you again.
yeah, man, same. It's been a while. Good to see you guys. Glad it's game day. I had a question on Primo, and obviously he's coming off the bench, but similar to how we did with DeJounte, do you anticipate him taking over that starting position throughout the season, maybe 6-7 months, maybe after the trade deadline?
We talked about this earlier for a bit. I think it was before you joined. I think that is Trey Jones' starting point guard role until he either gets injured or until he literally says, hey, I may not want to be a Spur anymore. I may not want to re-sign in the summer. And it's not just a body language thing. I don't think he would quit on the team like that. But Primo is not ready to be a starting point guard in the NBA. We are the worst team in the NBA, and he would be the worst starting point guard by a whole 2 or 3 tiers. Like, he's on the Jalen Suggs level of point guards that are ready to start in the NBA. He's not that guy. Will he be in 6 months? I'm not sure. I was mentioning how I like him as a hybrid guard. Think of I'll mention these names again. Anthony Simons, Tyler Hero. You can have him as an emergency point guard just to bring the ball up the floor, right? But not in clutch time. The shooting guard as a volume scorer, 3-level scorer. You get the ball on the wing, chisel drive, you get a foul. You get the ball on the wing, you get a screen, mid-range. You don't know what you're going to get, and he's not the first threat. He's not a movement shooter like Devin Vassell. He doesn't have to take 9 dribbles to score however many points. He can do the James Harden's cross dribble, step back tween every now and then, but there's variety to it. And if you focus on that as a second-year shooting guard, or hybrid guard, rather than dribble, cross tween, pass out, kick out. I gotta get my open man. It's gonna be a turnovers, and it's gonna be a lot of just uncertainty. Year 4, year 5, when he knows the speed of the game, when he actually has a solidified bag, yeah, bring the ball to the floor. That's grown man Primo. He's probably gonna have a kid by then. Yeah, let's see what you got. Then, not now. Not on board.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I honestly do agree. I think for me personally, I think next year is going to be his time to at least show us what he has. If he doesn't take, just some astronomical leap, off the bench, if he's scoring pretty well. But no, I think next year is his time.
Primo may very well have a 30-point outburst this year, and I know I don't tweet that much. But I will have a crazy thread of tweets saying "I told you so," because a lot of people still to this day, are not on board on Primo, and I get it. I understand from a rookie standpoint. Yeah, from a pick that was reached, you can only think of so much, predict so much. But hey, this guy is getting the Kawhi treatment. What more needs to be said? Literally,
Bingo.
until Victor comes. Tavarius, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Guess what, Evan and Ian? I have to disagree with y'all. Believe it or not, I believe Primo will be starting point guard sometime this year. He will eventually be starting. I have to disagree with you guys on that.
Okay. And Tavarius, I love your enthusiasm on the timeline. I love how you are. Take no offense to this. When you have an opinion, it is very hard to change that opinion. But when it comes down to it, Primo is a G League level point guard. Yes, the Spurs are damn near a G League level team. We're the youngest team in the league, if we're not the second youngest. We basically have nothing to I want to say not. We have something to play for, but we have nothing. We have nothing to really look forward to, and I see why you would.
May I ask this question? Who's the future, Primo or Trey?
And you want to have Primo look good, not in a role that he's not ready for, and that's a shooting guard, not a point
That's
guard.
why eventually he will be. Eventually this year he'll be becoming a point guard. Because what are we? We're not trying to win any games, correct?
Exactly. So let me answer that. Primo as a point guard, you will lose games. Primo as a shooting guard, you will still lose games. You want Primo to look good so he grows and has more confidence. You don't want Primo to look bad and then have Primo to say, "Oh, damn, I'm going against a Lonzo Ball type of perimeter defender as a point guard. I'm gonna get my cooked. Oh, I'm nervous." He's not even practicing as a point guard. As a backup point guard, maybe that's different. But a starting point guard, hey, turnovers galore. I went to so many Austin Spurs games. I was front row, and I see this man, literally his eyes, this deer in the headlights over James Bouknight, over some random G League. He's got, you know what I'm saying? He's not ready just quite yet, but you have to Tavares, all I'm saying is pump the brakes, give it 2 or 3 years, because you have to ease into this, because you don't want this kid to be stamped as a 6-man, 7th-man, Tim Hardaway Jr., Gary Trent Jr., maybe a starter on some teams. This guy is, like I just said, has reportedly gotten the Kawhi red carpet treatment until Victor comes. Yeah.
So basically, you want Trey Jones to get like 30 or 40 minutes a game?
No, he's going to get 26 to possibly at the most 31 at some nights, right? And then
I want Trey Jones to average 48 and a half minutes a game. We're going to go full Wilt Chamberlain every single game. He's going to play in every minute of all the overtime games, and he's going to end up with a stupid amount of minutes. Yep. You want to get to the bottom of the standings super fast? That's how you do it. You run Trey Jones into the ground. You go full Tom Thibodeau.
And then Trey Jones, probably the nicest, most generous. I'm just speaking out of tone here. He's a nice guy, and you don't want to have him being run out of town by playing 48 minutes for the worst team. So not doing that.
That would be terrible. That was, of course, highly hypothetical.
Hey, fellas, I got one question. Who are the backups?
Who are the backups? Position? The backups to each position. So are you ready? You ready? Tavares, the backup point guard, is not Blake Wesley. He's not quite ready for it. It'll be a split between Primo and Blake Wesley, right? There's no other point guard. Jordan Hall, psych. Tommy Kuhs, cut. Ain't no point guard on this team. Shooting guards, wings. Shooting guard, small forward. Honestly, on the Spurs, it's the same position. They're really positionless. It doesn't matter as long as Doug McDermott's not a shooting guard. It's the backups would be Josh Richardson. He's not starting. The backups would be Doug McDermott at the 3. The backup 4 would be Isaiah Roby, and the backup 5 would be Zach Collins. Gorgie Jang is kind of like a interesting name to always think about. If Jakob Poeltl gets traded, if Zach Collins gets traded, Gorgie Jang is right there in any role ready, because he's that most average free agent, should have been free agent center, but he's literally going to keep the tank alive whenever somebody gets moved.
Gorgie Jang is the ultimate locker room guy. I'm serious. You want him in your locker room.
I agree.
He teaches. He's a great teacher and mentor in the game. He's phenomenal.
And he's not overpaid anymore. He's not making $13 million like how he once was. So, yeah, that's not a Doug McDermott type of contract we're trying to get off. It should be fairly easy to get off if that's the extra sprinkling on the cake we need just to get a trade going. But I'm not trying to just reiterate, jump too far back. But there's one point I forgot to mention. The thing with that I just value so important when it comes down to these players, that obviously I've said over the summer, these guys are actually people, and these guys have personalities. You want to have this team mesh with whoever wants to stay here for the long term. Isaiah Roby, is he a long-term Spur? Might get traded. Josh Primo, he's not getting traded. That's a long-term Spur. Jeremy Sochan, that's a long-term Spur, not going to get traded. Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley, these guys got to mesh in the roles that you tell them that they want to have, that they have. Let's say it again. Yet they have to mesh in the roles that they have now. They have to know that the roles that they want to have later, and they have to have the expectations that are realistic, so they don't set themselves up for failure. And
what is Malachi? Evan, what is Malachi's position?
Malachi is a wing.
He needs to get some minutes.
Bucket getter.
Malachi is a wing. He's a shooting guard, small forward, tweener. He's literally like a Devin Vassell, but not as athletic. Malachi is a 3-level scorer already. Malachi doesn't have a lot of go-to moves. Malachi, honestly, will get locked up in an NBA game. Why? Because he's not ready. If he can come in and just come around screens, knock down a couple threes, yeah, fire away, big fella. That's not his game. He's not Joe Wieskamp. Bye. Sayonara. Sorry, I had to say it. He literally has to have. I want to say let me make this very clear. Malachi Branham can be the engine of an offense one day, but he'll be the second, third scorer on an elite team. You have to ease him into that because as a rookie, he's not going to get any type of starter level valued minutes, right? He's going to get locked up. He's not ready. Second, third units, that's where he has to show me something. But you have to ease into that. You have to ease into that. You can't just put somebody who's a 3-and-D guy out there and to say, let's see what you got. No, he's somebody that is possibly going to have a big bag to his name, and you got to boost his confidence from day one. So if he's not ready, he's not ready.
Yo, Evan, you can't say 3-and-D with Malachi, man. Unfortunately, defensively,
I was saying I was saying he's not the 3-and-D, but like a 3-D type of player, you can throw him out and just say go do whatever. But Malachi, you can't. Like a KBD 2nd-round pick, okay. Christian Braun from Denver, Peyton Watson, whatever. We throw them out there. Boom. Malachi, you have to ease him into it. It's the same thing with Primo, man. One last thing before we close things out. I want you guys to remember Primo's preseason game last year against the Rockets. This man was cooking Josh Christopher. I was at that game. I was at the game with Mike. Rest in peace, Mike. Literally, Josh Christopher and Primo were talking just noise to each other the whole game, the whole third and fourth quarter, up and down the floor. They were supposed to be picked before each other the whole time. Josh Primo lit him up, and everyone in San Antonio got behind him that night. It was until that game, until they got behind him that night. I want you to imagine the players having more confidence knowing that the fans are finally, I don't want to say not just giving them a hard time, but they say, oh, okay, he's solid, he's good, we don't have to worry about him. It's not just the murals, it's not just the stuff they see on Twitter. It's literally how the response they get in the city, the response they get, and when they're walking around, it's how they carry themselves, and that's what you really want to see, the confidence in a lot of these players. We've seen that with Sochan. He embraced it off rip. Cool. That's a prime example. I want to see that with Branham and Malachi, and honestly, some of these two-way guys. Can Barlow get some love? He was excellent in his 9-10 minutes in those 2 games. He was fantastic, literally.
No, he ain't getting no minutes. They will be what's his name? KBD minutes. You forgot about him.
Barlow will be in the G League for sure, but he'll be in the G League for sure. But what I was saying is that the preseason he impressed right off rip. He was looking to score, looking to get to a spot, ready to defend. When your number is called, hey, you better be ready. You can get pulled for the smallest, quickest misread, and Coach Pop doesn't care. Literally, it doesn't matter. Blake Wesley got more minutes than Branham because he proved it. He proved that he was ready. That should say enough. So, Ben, I know you're trying to close things out here. If anybody else has Tavares, Ian, if you guys had anything else, and if anybody else wants to join, feel free. I appreciate everyone for listening. I appreciate my friends for tuning in. But when it comes down to it, guys, this discourse that we have here, we're trying to push realistic narratives so people don't walk away with unrealistic expectations. And then when it doesn't happen, it's, oh, man, he didn't do what I thought he would do. But it really is not really set up for that to happen in the first place. It's hard to predict. It's hard to set in stone. But go ahead, Tavares.
I just want to say my last little thing. Just play the damn rookies. That's all I got to say.
Play the damn rookies. Hey, you're preaching to the choir. They'll get some playing time. Most of them will be in the G League. A lot of them will get some scrub minutes in San Antonio. Sochan is going to prove, hey, that 9, 10, 11 pick overall, that range, that's just in like the mid lottery or that little tier of a range right there. That's where you say, hey, I can either be a starter or I can be a solid 25 minute per game contributor on a contending team. And whether if he is the Pascal Siakam or what's another example, or honestly an Isaiah Roby, literally, we will literally see what he is, and that's what I'm most excited for. We'll see that first, But man, when will we see Malachi? When will we see Blake? When will we get those comparisons? When will we get those analytics? I don't know. It'll be a while. So maybe honestly by March, we should see some really interesting lineups by March.
That's when the full tank is going to be on.
Honestly, Ben, half this this league is going to be contending in their minds, and half this league is going to be
trying to get to the bottom as quickly as possible. Yep.
Yep. And you got something?
Nah. I'm good, man. Nah, I'm just excited for tonight. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, y'all.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Oh yeah, one last thing. Believe it or not, when it comes to Zach, I'm not a fan of him playing the 5. He's undersized. Did you guys see him play? He didn't look right during the preseason.
Zach Collins
he's more of a 4 to me as well.
He's more of a 4, but he can't play the 4 because if he's a 4, he's a Davis Bertans that can't knock down Davis Bertans shots.
He's a small ball 5.
And he's a small ball 5 that has no real rim protection that will get dunked on every single time. Literally, oh man, Zach Collins. I literally had to watch film of him in Gonzaga, his first and second. Well, not his second year, his first year in the league at Portland. For what you could see, more nimble, more elusive. Now he's literally stiff. He has no real He has no scoring isolation moves. He has to be set up, and nobody's looking for Zach Collins to score. And am I wrong? There's gonna be a lot of putbacks and maybe some open threes, maybe something in transition. But I'm just being realistic. The kid he's probably a great guy. Has a lot going for himself. Probably won't be a lifelong Spur.
He has to, if he wants to solidify a spot this year, or even if he wants to increase his trade value, he's got to knock down shots. That's what it comes down to. He's going to have to play some defense.
Definitely. And will he do that? Probably
Remains
not.
to be seen. Well, maybe we'll learn tonight. Who knows?
Definitely.
What's your score prediction for tonight, fellas?
Let's go with 99-98 Spurs, starting off 1-0.
Wow, you very dramatic.
Let me get a Jeremy Sochan put back layup at the buzzer. Let me get some. I don't.
Evan's gonna drive me to an early grave here. I'm giving it a 9-point game. No LaMelo Ball. Hornets are going to be struggling. PJ Washington going through some stuff off the court. Not ideal. I think the Spurs win the opening night game. I believe I saw a stat. It was since the NBA-ABA merger, the Spurs have won 34 opening night games, which is the most in that span. So
I agree.
Again.
Yeah, and for me, I agree with that. I'm thinking 102-91 Spurs. I just don't think the Hornets have it.
Be a nice hype machine for the Spurs this year. Get everybody started on the right foot.
I do have one more question now, and last one for me. Who do you feel will have the biggest point per game jump? Either Devin Vassell or Primo. So from 12 to whatever Vassell was scored to from what Primo was to where he will be by the end of the year.
That's a good one. I like that. I would say Devin Vassell only because he's going to have a lot more minutes and he's going to have the ball in his hands quite a bit. With the improvement that his shot has been going through, I'm going to go ahead and say that Devin Vassell in this case. And I think that is going to end it for us. I think Evan got frozen out, unfortunately. Wi-Fi, a real problem. Never bet for Wi-Fi is what I should say. Always bet against it. But I appreciate you guys coming out. We're going to shut this down. Enjoy the game tonight. Very excited for everyone to yell at us afterwards when the Spurs maybe lose this game, and you can all blame us. So enjoy. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next time.